welcome to another episode of Women Investing in Women. Robin and I are thrilled and energized week after week to have conversations with different women from different walks of life, creating impact in so many different ways. And we bring these conversations to you so that you feel inspired, you feel supported, and you are part of a support system. Because we know as women, we only go further for longer when we do this in our sisterhood, when we do this in a supported way. And that is exactly what this Women Investing in Women community is about. Somebody invested in us, we turn around and invest in others. And together we take a journey, because together we get to build a world that behooves every one of us and that benefits all of us.
We're so delighted to have Cathy Derksen as our guest today. And I know Cathy through multiple sources, and really excited that that her company is called Inspired Tenacity. And she really has a message for everyone, but really likes to focus on women who are maybe meeting their middle age or later in life and wondering what's next. And, you know, am I all washed up just because I'm 50? And so it's really thrilling to hear her message and her story of inspiration. And so, Cathy, tell us what your primary focus is and what got you into the desire to inspire, strengthen, uplift other women, which is really the focus of what this podcast is all about.
Yes, no, and thank you both for having me here. It's always fun to share in these women's communities, and yeah, really the main focus of all the work that I do is really helping women to see that we're just getting started in life. You know, we might be retiring, or our kids might have left home, or we're at a point where our career doesn't excite us anymore, or perhaps we've been a stay-at-home mom and wonder what's next. And so the big focus of my work is helping women to see that we are so filled with wisdom and experience, and I really believe that women will be what shifts the world when we all just look at what excites us, what inspires us, what are those things that we can bring to the community that can help motivate, inspire, support other people, and especially other women. Because like Cass says, I really believe that as we build as a community and lift each other and inspire each other, that's how we will grow and move forward. And yes, so that has really become the big focus of my work. And how I got here has been a very twisted story. My original career was in medical genetics. So really just kind of in a lab and doing some public education, and very different than what I do now. And it was about, I guess, about 14 years ago now that I hit that time in my life when I thought, you know, I looked at my life, my workplace was very toxic. My home life, I was in a very abusive marriage where my kids and I were all suffering with the consequences. And it just hit me that, you know, life is too short and this is not what it's supposed to be. And that's kind of where it all started for me. I left the marriage, started out as a single mom, left that career behind, and set out to find what it was that I was bringing to the world that was different. And I was really focused on finding a way that I could help, like, have a true impact in the lives of women. And I knew I wanted to do this in a way that influenced women around the world. But of course, I had no idea what that was going to look like. So my first thought was I went into financial planning because I thought, oh, well, money is an area where a lot of women feel challenged. But I was in that field for about 10 years and realized, nope, that's not quite the right thing. And so it's been about almost 4 years ago now, I left and started my business, Inspired Tenacity, where I can focus completely on what I feel brings true positive impact in the lives of women on a global scale.
That is very interesting to hear, Cathy. And what's coming up for me is as you get involved in helping women in a global scale, as they pivot, as women have a second and third and fourth act, right? We start our careers and we start our life simultaneously. And then life takes priority because that's the way the universe works, right? Children, family, we have to prioritize family first, everything else around. And then in our late 40s, early 50s, as we become empty nesters, we need to recalibrate. We go through stages very much like seasons, right? Tectonic shifts. When you see women going through these changes, what are some of the things that inspires you to continue to do what you do?
I think the main thing that does inspire me and continues to re-inspire me is when I see those shifts in the women who are first feeling stuck and feeling like they are obsolete or they're too old to start something new or who wants to hear what I have to say. I find that a lot of women are stuck in that feeling. And as they do meet other women who have shifted into doing things that inspire them, who are learning new things all the time, who are in communities that allow us to try new things, I think that's really what excites me is seeing that shift and seeing that spark. And one of the things I always remind women too, when we do have that feeling that there's something else we want to be doing, usually our immediate family and friends are not the ones who will stand by us and go, yes, go do something completely different. They're usually the ones that go, oh, calm down. This is just a phase. You'll get over it. Carry on as usual, which, they're doing that because they love us and they want to keep us, safe. But stepping into new communities, surrounded by other women who are doing new things and learning new things and trying new things, that's where you're really going to get that spark and that excitement of, and like I mentioned, that's giving yourself permission to even think about what you want next.
This is really beautiful. Um, as you work with women and talking with them, coaching them, guiding them, helping them moved into a different phase, what are some of what do you find helps people get unstuck? What do you find helps them realize, oh, I can do something different, or I can do something in addition to what I'm doing? What helps them get past that I'm not enough, or I can't do this, or I shouldn't go there?
I think the first part of that is starting to see other women doing similar things and having other women cheering you on and giving you that safe space to start thinking about what are those things that I love to do. Whether you're thinking back into your younger years of, what did I love to do back then? Like, because quite often we get to the point where we even forget, what do I like? I remember one point when my kids were probably in elementary school, and it hit me because I had spent so many years just focused on them that I don't know what kind of food I like. I don't know what kind of music I would listen to if I could turn the radio onto my channel. So I just remember that day just going, wow, I don't even know who I am anymore. So to be in a safe space that's allowing you to go back or even just start brand new. Like, what excites me now? What are those new things? I mean, the world has changed so much. There's so many opportunities for us to do something completely different.
That is so true. And what you're saying is a natural progression of how women start identifying themselves in their family role. And in family roles, it's a thankless job, right? We're all women here. We know how it works. What you do is so invisible. Everybody assumes they go about life like there's a fairy who shows up and does everything. Only when you're not there to do things, they're like, what happened? Why didn't this get done? Why didn't that get done? So in some ways, women start feeling devalued, and women go through a process of losing the confidence they had when they entered their career and entered motherhood and entered family life. And how can we, as women, help other women from making sure we don't go through that whole cycle, but preventatively build ourselves so that as we make life choices and prioritize family, we're not losing psychologically, spiritually, in every way that matters, not losing sight of ourselves and who we are and our self-worth in service to our loved ones, because that is the trick.
Definitely, definitely. I completely agree that if there was some proactive thing that we would do back at the beginning, and I think it really is about that self-care and understanding that looking after ourselves allows us then to look after everybody else even better. And even just having that little thing, if you're, meeting a friend for coffee once a week, if you're, and these days, again, with Zoom and all these podcasts making things so easy, even just taking an hour a week to sit down alone, which I know is hard sometimes, and take some time for yourself. Or if you're, getting some exercise, if you're just doing something that is just for you, that is not about, what movie do the kids want to watch, or what, actually go out to dinner with your friends, like have that block of time that, and then sometimes you have to just insist on it. And again, I know it's hard, and I know quite often with a busy family, fitting your stuff in is the last on the list. But even if it's monthly, just finding something, some block of time that you can leave for yourself, and keeping that in mind, keeping in mind that you do need to stay in touch with who you are and what you like and who your friends are. And to really, I think the more we remind ourselves of that along the way, then that definitely helps, so that when we do get into our 40s and 50s, it's not a shock.
Absolutely. I'm loving what you're talking about, self-care and taking that time. And in order to take the time to do that, you have to be thinking about it in the first place. So that first step is to like thinking about, oh yeah, I need to do this, or I want to do this. I always like to ask our guests about some of the challenges that you have faced. So you've talked about some of the internal challenges you faced, but what were some of the maybe the external and also internal challenges that you have faced, kind of practical things in starting your own business and in saying, yes, I'm going to leave this comfortable or known job, this known entity, and move into something new? What were some of the challenges that you faced, and how were you able to handle those?
Well, I would say the list of challenges was long, and especially, when I made the first career move that, also included just leaving the marriage, selling the house, starting all over again, getting the kids resettled. And so there was definitely many, many challenges going through that phase. And then that next step, when I chose to completely leave, like you say, that comfort of the paycheck and the schedule and the benefits and chose to leave that completely behind and start fresh, going into the wilderness, really, because I had never run a business. I had never had to, really market myself. I'd never had to, because really what I'm doing now, I had to develop from nothing. There was no model that I followed. There was no team around me. It was just me figuring out, okay, what is it I'm here to do, and how do I need to do this? And it's definitely an ongoing thing, always learning, always absorbing new information, always, looking for collaborations and ideas on, okay, how do I make this better? And so for me, I have found that one of the most important parts was finding community, and finding quite often different groups of community as well. So finding some community that was just those women who were supportive and encouraging, finding other communities where it was more of that information, how do I set up Zoom and use it? How do I create my website? How do I do, posts and things on social media? So really that combination of what are the resources that I need? How do I bring them together? And really listening to people, and at the same time tuning out a lot of the noise.
Cash, you're muted.
Thank you so much. That makes total sense. And as you think about how you had to build something from nothing, and now you want to take your lessons learned and your journey and make it easier for other women, what did you learn about yourself? Because there's a difference between figuring out for yourself because you're transforming and then passing it on to another woman because they're not going through their transformation the same way you went. So, what did you learn about yourself, and how are you able to give that same transformational journey to the women you are guiding? Because they're not figuring it out on their own, they're taking a guided tour.
Yes, exactly. And I think a few of the things that I've learned about myself, one, I've been, really learned how resilient, tenacious. That's why the title of my company, Inspired Tenacity, is, I really found that inspiration and tenacity are a couple of the key things we need for making any big change in life. We need to really be inspired about what we want to do, but then we just have that tenacity to just keep plugging away, keep learning, keep connecting, keep trying new things. Allow yourself to think, okay, well, I tried that, but maybe that wasn't quite the right fit. And for me, a big part of it was learning to listen to my intuition, like really allow myself to listen to my gut and have the patience to allow myself to navigate that unknown and in the dark a lot of the time. But really, intuition to me has been so important. So that is definitely a big thing for me. And I think leading by example, sharing our journey, sharing the ups and the downs and the challenges and the triumphs, and those are the ways that we really can help other women to see that, okay, just because you're struggling or something was a challenge, it's not just you. It's not that you are the problem. It's not that you made a big mistake. It's like, this is part of the process. This is how it works. You bump into this wall, you shift. You bump into that, you shift. It's all about adjusting and rethinking and listening to that intuition and finding your path. Because like you said, we're not all on the same journey. We're on a similar journey. There's some, common pieces between it, but we all have to follow our own journey. And I think that was a big part of it too. When I first started as an entrepreneur, you get that message, oh, you need to be big and flashy and out there and everyone's got to see you everywhere, which isn't really who I am. And I learned with time that no, that is not me. That is not the way I need to show up. And I realized that really I'm what I call a quiet leader, where it's, the right people are drawn to me and I am the right fit for them, but I am not that one up there really, loud and drums and all the work. So learning who you are and what your way of doing things is, and just allowing that to be.
Yeah. Oh, I'm loving this message that where you are acknowledging you have a different style than other people that we all know that we know who are wonderful, but they are more of the flashy, bells and whistles kind of person. And being able to say, that's just not who I am, but my style, who I am, is just right for the people who are going to be attracted to me.
Yeah.
And so for you to discover that and feel good about it and be okay with that and work with that and expand with that, to me, that is just massively inspiring. Because as you say, so often we get the message that we need to be the big and the loud and the bells and whistles in order to be successful. So for you to be able to find your own success in your own way, that is really, really inspiring. With every guest, we say, oh my gosh, the time has just flown by. So definitely, we absolutely want our audience to know how they can get a hold of you. So please tell us, how can people find you? And then do you have a last golden nugget or two that you would like to share with the audience when they listen to this podcast?
Sure. Yeah. A couple of the easiest ways to find me, my website is just inspiredtenacity.com. And on there, you'll find information about all of my projects. I've got different books going on. I've got a retreat coming up. And there's also buttons on there to book a time on my calendar. So that's definitely the easiest way to connect with me. And LinkedIn is my main social media. I'm present on some of the other ones, but not as active. So LinkedIn is the best place to connect with me there. And one golden nugget that I always love to share is it's a Howard Thurman quote, and it's, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, and go do that, because what the world needs is more people who have come alive." And to me, that just sums up everything I'm doing. It's all about figuring out what excites you and go do that. And just building that shift in the energy in your life and in your community. That's, to me, again, how we're going to shift the world.
Brilliantly said, Kathy. I love the notion that the world needs every one of us to come alive. And thank you. Thank you for sharing your insights. Thank you for bringing that message. And to our audience out there, find what is going to make you come alive. Because at the end of the day, you are uniquely created for a purpose. We are each uniquely created for a purpose. And our mission in life, our purpose in life, is to find out what that is and truly, authentically embrace it and live it. Because in the end, our life is a gift from our maker, whatever you consider the maker to be. And the only gift we leave in this world is how we've used our gifts and made an impact in this world. So find your gift, use it to leave something behind, and in the process, surround yourself with those who can make you joyful and live your joyful self.